Fossil fuel subsidies are a legacy of more than a century of global incentivization of fossil fuel use through favorable legislative and fiscal frameworks. Phasing out these unsustainable subsidies helps to direct tax and investment flows towards more climate-friendly energy solutions.
For governments to phase out fossil fuels, it is important for them to look inwards and look at the Paris Agreement to make sure that the 1.5 target is reached. And this can only be done when we are able to come up with initiatives that will support renewable energy transition. Yeah, I think generally there are a lot of subsidies that the countries and governments are actually going in for that they need to look at as far as climate change is concerned. We have seen governments going in for fertilizer subsidies. We have seen governments going in for other projects that will actually worsen the climate situation.
And it's clear that public finances have been built on the fossil fuel economy base, meaning import and sales duties on fossil fuels and automobiles. It remains an important source of revenue. And so we've built in these inefficiencies and locked in this risk. And so to get out of this risk, it's about reforming and transforming the entire economy, meaning looking at new pockets of revenue that do exist.
There are various types of fossil fuel subsidies. Some are explicit, including tax breaks for producers and artificially low fuel prices. Others are implicit, such as underpricing industries for their pollution.
So there are many ways that the government actually subsidizes the fossil fuel sector directly and indirectly. And what we need to do is ensure that we transfer these subsidies to where the job opportunities are and where we could have new technologies that remove risk from the power system and are more resilient. The labor in the fossil fuel industry should be the first to benefit from the transition. And the reason for this is they have paid the price in health impact, and the population in that country likely has paid through high prices, potentially subsidizing pollution.
For countries to ensure that phasing out fossil fuel does not impact vulnerable communities and indigenous people, to some extent it is simple. We just need to build a connection with the people that we work with. There should be a process of just transition. And the just transition is looking at coming up with alternative opportunities so that when you are phasing out, there is a solution. And this can be attained through local people's knowledge.
The plan in itself is critical because it's not a 0 to 100 shift, but rather it's how could we slowly displace expensive fossil fuel and replace it with renewable energy capacity that generates more job opportunities and reduces risk in the overall system. So there is a way to do this, and climate vulnerable countries are putting together prosperity plans in order to show how this transition could happen if capital were made available, low-cost capital was made available today to ensure this phasing out of subsidies in a way that doesn't negatively impact the population.
So at the end of the day, it comes back to what do people need? And it's very easy for communities to understand that because they have lived their entire life within that ecosystem. So the reality is building the public narrative is easy as long as the decision makers are willing to listen to the voices of the vulnerable population.